Now back to the Brian Zimmerman Show. Here's Brian.
Hi, everyone. Brian here at your side for another episode of The Brian Zimmerman Show. Welcome. Today, I want to talk about how I got into sales and how I became a top sales rep. So, back in high school, you're talking and figuring out with your friends about what you want to do for the rest of your life, right? Come to that point where you're trying to figure out really what job you want to do. And I remember I think I wanted to do something with music. I think I picked sound engineering. I wanted to, operate the mixing board. So I went to a studio and to see about taking classes. And the instructor there, he said to me, if you're thinking about being a sound engineer as a career, you can forget it. Well, I left there as a 16 or 17-year-old, so disappointed and discouraged. I just crossed that off the list. And then I guess I got into my head about being in radio. And so I went to my guidance counselor, and there was uh, a school, I think it was called Connecticut School of Broadcasting, which I didn't really want to go to. So I kind of said, well, let me think about it. And then I was talking to a friend of mine. I says, well, we got to talk about what we want to do when we graduate. And I said, well, what do you want to do? She says, well, I want to be a telemarketer. I says, a telemarketer? Well, what is that? What do they do? I says, why do you want to be a telemarketer? She said, because they make a lot of money. I said, well, I want to make a lot of money. Long story short, I did go to radio school and wanted to get into radio. But I had to, for my parents, I had to have a plan B. I had to have a backup plan because I needed a job is what I couldn't find a job right away in radio. So my parents said you have to get a job that has benefits, a good benefits package and a good pay to pay your bills, and while you're looking to be in radio, or while you're waiting to get the job. So, thinking about what my friend said about the telemarketer, there was a sign, an ad hanging up in the supermarket, and telemarketers wanted at a mortgage company. So I decided to call, and I got the interview, and long story short, I started working there. But keep in mind, this was not my first choice sales. I wanted to be in radio, but I also knew that I needed a job and I needed to have income coming in, that sort of thing. They put me in the back room at this company making calls. I was the only one in that room, and everybody else, the other telemarketers, they were up in the front. And I was like, oh God, I felt so bored and so lonely back there, right? And all I kept thinking about was, I shouldn't be here. I should be in radio, right? I shouldn't be sitting in front of this desk. This desk should be a board, a radio board. So I called the late great Bill Singer, my radio instructor, and I told him, I says, Bill, he said, did you get a job? I says, well, I got a job, but it's at a mortgage company. I'm doing telemarketing. He said, that's really good for the voice. I said, okay, well, maybe I'm onto something here. Maybe this will help me improve on my voice, right? On my radio voice. I forget exactly what else we had talked about, but I just kind of talked to him about, I'm not happy here. I'm bored here. I want to be in radio. Long story short, I wasn't getting any. We were doing refinancing for high rate mortgages or debt consolidation at this mortgage company. So obviously calling homeowners at all hours of the day. I wasn't really getting any success, and I wasn't really putting the effort in. So my manager came over to me at the end of the day and said, listen, he says, you're not really working out. You're not getting any success here. He says, we could either fire you and let you go, or he says, we could put you in the mailroom. You can keep your job because we like you, uh, and see how that goes. I says, yeah, I don't want to, you know, I want to keep my job. So the last thing I wanted to do was tell my parents I got fired, right? So I took the mail job, stamping letters and that sort of thing. And a few, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 months later, my manager comes in and says, hey, he says, do you want to give the phones another shot? Do you want to get back on the phones? I said, sure. I really wasn't digging the mailroom, but I was making a paycheck every week. When I got back on the phones the second time, I was put up in the front. I wasn't in the back room. So now I was next to one of the top reps there, the top sales rep. There was probably about half a dozen other people there, telemarketers. And so I got back. I'm not sure if it was really a competitiveness or what it was, but I think once I started calling people, I started becoming successful. I started getting people that wanted to refinance their high rate mortgage. And I couldn't figure it out at first. I saw new people coming in, and at that time it was, at the first week, if you didn't get any mortgage applications, you were fired during the first week. And I saw a lot of new people come and go, and they got so discouraged. Oh, I can't get anything. Okay, so not interested, not interested. And I finally figured out what my secret sauce was, why I was successful. These other people were saying, "Hey, this is blah blah blah," and calling to see if you want to hire a mortgage, and they were doing the pitch, right? They were giving this whole explanation. Hey, we're a mortgage company, and we have the lowest rates. We've been in business 20 years, and nobody cares about that stuff. A lot of sales managers think that's so important. It's not important. To you, it is. What I did differently and how I became a top sales rep is I went right into the application. The first question on the application was if this was a number family of house. So in other words, is it one family or two family house? I didn't say, would you like to take a mortgage application? Do you have time to take a mortgage? A lot of people were doing that. Do you have time to take an application over the phone? Oh, I can mail it to you. I went right into the application. This is Brian, calling from blah 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 mortgage company. Um, I might have given the interest rate. I'm not sure, but I went right into the application. I says this is one family house, and I went right to each question. And at the end of the application, I says I'm going to submit this application now to our loan officer, who's going to then deny or accept your application. They said, what application? They didn't realize I was actually taking an application over the phone. So again, having just that conversation, taking the pitch out, all you sales managers and CEOs out there, take note, okay? And this is what I learned too with my sales coaches. You have to ditch the pitch. I didn't realize it at the time, like what was the secret, until I realized that all these other people there were pitching, and that causes resistance. That causes prospects' guards to go up. Nobody likes being pitched, and especially at dinner time, which we were operating all through the day and night. I was on the day shift, but that's my point, right? And I've learned that throughout my sales career is that uh, when you have that normal human to human conversation with somebody, and I'll get into this and more in detail and depth in other episodes, but you don't become a salesperson anymore. People see you as themselves, as a human being. And I I enjoyed doing it then because I knew that then I started to taste success, and I kept wanting more of it. And we had a board in the back room of everybody's, who got the most applications every week, and it was always Brian, 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 and that felt good to me. I was always, now I was in competition. It was a competitiveness. I outsold the the top rep who was there a many number of years more than I was. And I know, and I could see it, he was getting discouraged. He would come in and he was just so like he didn't want to be there anymore because he knew that I was going to be on the board on the top again. I wish that the payoff was better. I think our boss gave me free movie tickets or something like that every week because he decided, well, if you guys get whoever gets the most applications will get movie tickets or something. Really wasn't a movie guy at that time, but that was how I got into sales, and how I became a top sales rep. That'll do it for this episode. I'm Brian. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.